Good evening, everyone. Yeah, good evening. Um, okay, okay. Thanks to everyone for joining. You can see um people here already, and so thank you so much for honoring this invitation. So in a few minutes, we'll be starting. In fact, we're starting immediately. Okay, so I'll just go. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for honoring this call one more time. So I both FON and Mindtra, I really appreciate everyone that has joined in this evening to learn because personal branding and LinkedIn optimization for career development. Okay, please, I would need a few minutes to. Okay, yeah, so I'm very happy to be doing this. My name is Israel, okay, and I'm a community manager for Flourish Opportunities Network, and I also have affiliation with Mindtribe Africa as a campus ambassador for my campus, Ladoke Akitola University of Technology. And this webinar basically is to bring students and youth into the know that personal branding is something you can get right from now. LinkedIn optimization, I know you hear it all the time. LinkedIn, LinkedIn, LinkedIn. What's really happening there? Some of us are even scared to open LinkedIn because she believe um, it's for the airlights, and because of that, you just stay clear of LinkedIn. So we are breaking all those shenanigans this evening, and I'm so excited because we have our first speaker here with us, um, Orolu Ababayode. You can already see her on the screen. So, Orolu, can you just say hi to our viewers? Hello, Orolu. Okay. Um. So maybe I would just engage you in a little conversation before you go into what you really have for us. So when did you Earl, are you there? Hello. Okay, maybe she's having a little glitch from her hand. Hello, Orolu, are you there? Okay, I guess she'll be joining us soon. So, okay, I can brief us on what F1 is about and what Mindtribe is about because we have to give credit to these organizations for the good job they do for African youths and by extension Africa itself. So Fresh Opportunities Network is a social enterprise that aims to or that has to an extent informed youth of the many opportunities that are available. Many youths do not know that opportunities are available for them, and because of that, they just count themselves out. They settle for less, and F1 is out to change that narrative. And F1 is doing so well in that. By F1, I mean Flourish Opportunities Network. So F1 has branches or say chapters in undergraduate communities, undergraduate universities, campuses across Africa. I mean, different countries in Africa. We have FON is present in Rwanda, FON is present in South Africa, Nigeria, of course, Ghana, Sierra Leone, across Africa. Crossing over to Mindtribe, Mindtribe is also an organization that is trying to bridge the gap, the skill gap that students have from the classroom to the career world. So many students really do not know the difference. Many students really do not know that there are some things they need to know that they definitely wouldn't be taught in class. And Mindtravel has been doing a good job in making sure that gap is reduced, and initiatives to reduce that gap is part of what we are doing this evening, this webinar. That is why we have that partnership between Fresh Opportunities Network and Mindtrive Africa. So you can type in your questions, show your excitement in the comment section. Let's see that you are ready for this while we are with Orua to join back. Okay, Orua will be coming in soon. So when we talk of personal branding, yeah, I can say a little. So when we say personal branding, personal, of course, you're dealing with yourself, and then branding, the image you portray. When people think of you, what comes to their mind? So in essence, that's what personal branding could mean. And LinkedIn optimization, it's not to just have the account, it's not to just have a number of followers. There are actually some things you need to do to make your account ready for opportunities that are actually made and available for you. So all of these things are needed for career development. In the professional world, you want to portray a positive image, and you also want to make your LinkedIn standard so that anyone that even before coming across your CV, your first point of display is probably your LinkedIn account, and you don't want to just leave it there shabbily and maybe post things that are incoherent and different kind of things that people do that is not very productive for their career development. So we'll be also learning about those things that you can do against yourself. Let me use it like that, against yourself. Because there are things you should do to help yourself. There are things you could do against yourself and it will hinder your growth seriously, even though they are just little steps or little actions.
Hello, sorry about the glitch, but just to confirm, can you hear me?
Hey, Arulwa is back. Yeah, thank you so much for coming back. So, Arulwa, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm
All
trying
right,
to
great.
ascertain if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you as well. I can hear you. So yes, I think we can just go into it. But before that, that was your day. How has today been? The weekend, the
Um,
glorified weekend.
the glorified weekend. Well, it has been all right, a bit work filled because I'm currently working on some projects. So I just had to wrap up some things this morning, but it has been restful so far. I think this will be the major highlight of today for me.
All right, I hope
Thank
we
you.
make it
How
work
has your
well.
weekend been too?
Yeah, well, it has just been busy as well. We have a lot to
I
do, and
imagine.
most times we move it to the weekend again. So, but I'm fine.
Yeah. All right.
So
That's
yes,
fine.
you can go ahead now. I'll leave the stage to you now.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So I put a slide together and I would make the attempt to share it, but it's not compulsory. I just want to ensure that I can carry along people because I'm going to show pictures and
Yeah,
this
yeah,
would hopefully be as interactive as I hope for. All right.
yeah. You can share your slide.
All right. Thank you. Let me upload it. All right. Let's see how this works. Sorry, 1 second, please. Okay. I think it's processing. All right. Trying to see if it's appearing on your screen already. Okay, I think you'd have to help me project it, Israel. It seems you have to select it from your end. Can you see it at the backstage? Can you see it, Israel?
Oh, sorry. I said I think you should be able to do it from your end. I can't see that you're trying to present, but you should be able to present from your end because I tried it just now.
Okay. Um. All right. Okay, I've attempted it. It's not working, and I don't want to take so much more of our time. So I'll just move. All right, so I usually start with a question, and don't worry, it's a very simple question. I'll be talking on personal branding. I'll give an introduction to what personal branding is. I'm sure many of us here have an idea of what personal branding is. So please, I'd like your comments. I'd like to see it in the chat box. You can tell me what personal branding is to you, and we'll start from there. So I'm still trying to attempt to share my screen. I'm coming. me see if I can share my screen. All right, I think we're good to go.
All right, that's good to hear.
All right. Okay, I think I found the way out. So sorry about the delay. I always like it to be in depth. Okay. So please let me know if you can see it. It should be on your screen now. Please, can you see it?
No, I'm trying to confirm that. I had to log out of YouTube on my laptop because of the feedback. So I'm trying to see
Okay.
from my phone. Yeah. But if anyone can possibly see it, I think we should mention in. You can't see it yet. Okay, I guess people can't see it yet. We might just have to continue.
Please, if you can see it, please put it in the chat box.
It will probably come up along the line.
Okay. All right. And let me stop screen sharing. Might be a network issue, but that can't delay.
Yeah.
Time is going. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I was asking, please, can you put in the comment section what you think personal branding is? So, I'll be talking on branding beyond LinkedIn. And I think it's a very interesting topic because many times when we talk about personal branding, we tend to just focus centrally on how you can position yourself on social media, particularly LinkedIn. But seeing that I'm going to be talking beyond LinkedIn, I think it's an interesting topic because there's going to be a lot of things I'll review to you guys, and particularly because of I think it will be an interesting topic too because of the role I play. I'm a business and brand strategist, and I've gotten the opportunity to sit in several rooms, especially with recent graduates, and just to basically evaluate them. So I'll be sharing some tips on how to brand yourself at different touch points today. But first, can you put in the comment section what you think personal branding is or what it is to you? What comes to your mind when you think of personal branding? While I'll be expecting that, I'll just move on. All right. So, personal branding is the process of influencing perceptions about you at every touch point. Pay attention to every single word that I've used in this definition. I'll say it again. Personal branding is the process of influencing perceptions about yourself at every touch point. So, as I said, process because it's continual and you don't force perceptions about yourself on others, you influence it. And of course, as the word perception is, it means the idea that people have about you, and touch points means the should I say the place that people get to meet you or they get to hear about you. So, for example, YouTube is a touch point, LinkedIn is a touch point, school is a touch point. So long as people get to meet you or hear about you at these different places, then it's a touch point. So once again, I would say personal branding is a process of influencing perceptions about you at every touch point. All right. And one thing that is important to personal branding are these three things I will mention, and we would see it play out throughout this presentation. So by personal branding, it influences perceptions by creating built on value, consistency, and empathy. So every time I get the opportunity to talk about personal branding, I always mention these three things. They are the core of branding. Branding surrounds these three things. If you miss out on one, you're going to miss out on the entirety. If you miss out on value, there's no point to consistency and empathy. If you miss out on consistency, there's no point to your value. If you miss out on empathy, there's no point to the value and consistency. And you'd understand this very much later on. So value can be your worth as a person, or it can be the benefit that you have to give others. Consistency has to do with, okay, so here's an example. I think an example would do a better job. All right, imagine you see me one day, maybe at Lautech. I'm very well suited, I'm wearing my heels, and I'm looking all good. But then the next day, you see me maybe on the road, my hair is scattered. Maybe I'm wearing a big torn shirt with a big torn trousers, and I'm on the road dancing. You're probably going to be confused. Like, is this the aura that we saw yesterday? What's going on? There's something. Of course, there's a lot that is different, and just by that, you would automatically get a perception. Like, you would understand that the accumulation of the experiences. This is great. This is great. And we're going to talk about this today. All right. So, as I said, value, consistency, and empathy. I already explained what value is, what consistency is, what empathy is. I'm not explaining empathy. So, empathy has to do with you putting yourself in the shoes of your audience, or the people you're surrounded by, or the people you want to send a message to. So, personal branding, to build around personal branding, one trick to doing that is through storytelling. So, you might have heard of storytelling a lot, but for you to sell a product, for you to sell yourself to people, you need to be able to put yourself in their shoes. Before you can say, I want to give out value to this person, you need to understand the situation of the person before you can then term your offer as valuable. Because you can decide to put a product together, you can create something great, something grand, something beautiful, and then you give it to the audience, and they're like, what's the point of this product? Simply because they don't need it. So it won't be valuable to them because they simply do not need it. Unless you are empathetic, unless you're able to key into their experiences, their daily life, what it is that they need, that's then when you'll be able to create something that will be valuable. So as a personal brand, for you to be of value, you need to be able to discern the gaps that exist in the world, in the market, or even the place that you are in. All right, so moving on. I was hoping to. The reason why I wanted to share the slides was because I put pictures of certain individuals, but I'm hoping everybody here would know them, or at least one. So there are three individuals. I'm hoping that you know one of them. Please know one of them. All right. So the first person is Salem King. I'm not even sure if I pronounced it right. Oh my God, Salem. I'm sorry. I think it's Salem. Yes, I think it's Salem. Yeah, it's Salem. So Salem King is known as the creator's creator. So um, if you're a social media marketer, if you're a digital marketer, or maybe even a product marketer, if you're a creator, automatically or ideally you should know Salem King because he's the creator's creator. So he creates contents based on stories that people can relate to. You can see him as an encourager because he shares his real life experience with you, his growth journey with you. So creators who know Salem King can relate so much to his journey. And that's because in everything he does, he exudes authenticity. All right. It seems like I got missing. I seems like the network lagged for a bit. I want to be sure.
Yeah, you did. You
Did
did.
it lag? So I'll know where to start. Where did I stop?
I
Sorry
think we
about
were
that.
on Salem King. Yeah, we were on Salem King, and now we post relatable content.
Okay, that means I didn't go far. All right. So I was relating it back to what I defined personal branding to be. And I said it's built on value, consistency, and empathy. And in Salem King's story, you can see that consistently. If you don't know Salem King, you would know DDK, the magnificent DDK, Debola Deji Kurume. She's known as the transformational coach for visionary leaders. So if you're looking to transform the economy, if you're looking at development in different sectors, if you're looking to birth something really big and transformational, Debola Deji Kurumi is the person for you. And if you go through even just her social media page, you see that consistency. For so long, for so many years, she has been giving out value to people, and she has been empathetic, so she can tell them this is what you're going through and this is the story to it, so people are always inclined to listen to her. Another person is Tony Elumelu, is known as a philanthropist empowering a new generation of African entrepreneurs. So when you think of Tony Elumelu, just think about it. What comes to mind? It's either the red tie. The red tie should even show you the consistency. The red tie, or maybe UBA, or entrepreneurship. You've probably heard of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, and that's just one way. That's one way he empowers African entrepreneurs, right? So we can see it play out in all these people and every other person that you can name as inspirational. And when it comes to maybe your industry, just look at them. You will see value, you see consistency, and you see empathy. You see the reason why you value them is most likely because they can relate to your story. Maybe they've been in your shoes before, or they have something valuable to give you, something beneficial. And if you go through their life story, you see that consistency. All right. So now in this, now that we've discussed these three people, I want you to put yourself in, maybe not necessarily their position, but create a circle, maybe create an event poster and put your face in it. Now imagine how you would look like. Would you be there wearing a suit? Would you be wearing a t-shirt and really nice sneakers as maybe a tech guy? Imagine how you look or how you like to look in the future. Imagine yourself maybe 2 years from now, or even 1 year from now, or 10 years from now. How exactly do you want your future to look like? So now you're seeing these people. For them to have gotten here, it was because they had a vision, right? And they built a brand around it. They ensured value, consistency, and empathy. So now put yourself in this position and think about the value that you want to give, how you ensure consistency, and how exactly you go about empathizing. Now we'll break all this down. So think now, what do you want to achieve in the future? And what do you want to be known for? Just think about this and write it down. All right, so now to the core of this presentation. Israel, please let me know when I have 5 minutes to go. To the core of this presentation, I mentioned that personal branding is the process of influencing perceptions about you at every touch point. And I mentioned what touch point is. Now, touch points is where you come in contact with your audience or people you like to come to get to know you. Basically, any point where you come in contact with people, right? So we're talking about personal branding beyond LinkedIn. I'm coming 1 second. We're talking about personal branding beyond LinkedIn. So we have to look at other touch points because LinkedIn is one touch point, and I believe someone will be addressing you beautifully on that. But for me, I'm going to talk about some essential areas, or would I say I'll go unconventional today to talk about some essential areas that might be overlooked when we're talking about personal branding, but they are very, very important. And it's important for you who is considering how to develop yourself career-wise, how to build a career pathway for yourself. It's important that you know all these other touch points that on a normal day might not be emphasized, right? So the other touch points, I classify them into four. There are more than these, but these are very essential to career development. The first one is interviews. The second one is events. The third one is the workplace. And the fourth one is your personality, right? So I classify your personality as a touch point, and I'll get there. All right. So the first one is interviews. What made me even put this here was something I experienced recently. So as I said, I work as a brand and business strategist, and it has given me the opportunity to sit in rooms. So I've interviewed several people. Especially recently, I interviewed undergraduates and graduates. If by the way you see a business strategist or a brand strategist in your interview, then there's a high chance that the position you're interviewing for has something to do with a project they're currently working on or a key revenue driver, because business strategists are never really at interviews. So I had to join this interview because we're looking to start a project and we needed somebody that would have, should I say, the attributes or descriptions of what we would need to attain the success of this project, right? And during this interview, I went through their CVs to During this interview, I went through their series and it was fine. All right, great. Now, time to meet these incredible people, right? One thing I always do too is to go through their LinkedIn profile, and it was fine. It was good enough. But then there was an issue, and it was during the interview. So these guys who had positioned themselves well on LinkedIn and had positioned themselves well in their CV found it hard to market their value. And as I said, this is an interview, right? This is a touch point rather. There was something I saw consistently in this interview, and it's something I call the pride versus humility syndrome. All right, or you can call it the humility syndrome. So many times we try to, because we don't want to seem proud or we don't want to seem like, oh, we are in over our head, or we want to sound really realistic, we tend to undermine the value that we have to put out there. Now, if you're going to sell yourself to people, if you're going to build a personal brand, of course, you have to take this personal brand in every room that you step into. So, of course, that means you have to ensure your value is there, your consistency is there, and your empathy is there, right? So, if you're going into an interview room, you don't, I mean, you might not be forming, but don't focus so much on trying to look humble. So there's the story of this girl who we wanted to take for. I can't remember the position exactly, but she had all the attributes, and I could see that by the way she put herself out there. But I asked a simple question, and it was, I think it was on a tool or a software. I asked, okay, if you're going to grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, what percentage, what number would you give yourself to describe how good you are with this software or tool? And she said, I think she said 5 or so. And we needed somebody that was on a 10 or on a 9 at least. And after she said 5, I was just like, oh, okay, then that means we can't have her, right? Because of course we need someone who is really good with this for this role. So because she was trying to sound humble, she even made that clear that she was being humble. She was saying, "Oh, because I don't want to sound like I know everything. That's why I'm saying I'm only 5." But it really just made her like, it made us not choose her as the option, because at the end of the day she undermined her value, and we needed somebody who would be confident enough to stand in front of people, to recommend solutions, to take initiatives and all that. So because of that, we're not able to, we put that aside, right? So this is one way, this is a touch point, the interview, the, should I say, the humility syndrome, right? So in an interview place, you take your personal branding with you. All right. Another is a growth story. So at interviews, you go in with your growth story. I always talk about the importance of storytelling, even when I talk about branding when it comes to positioning on social media platforms. So a tip to creating a growth story is to talk about, one, make use of statistics, make use of research, make use of numbers. So if you're going to tell about how you've grown or talk about your value, you need to talk maybe history. You need to let them know that you've conducted your research, and you need to talk numbers. So this is me taking this off the top of my head, but let me cite an example for you. So imagine I tell you, oh, I'm a business strategist. What I do is to help businesses grow, and I'm the right person for you. That would sound vague. But then if I start with this, do you know, according to the central bank, about 40% of businesses fail because they are unable to understand their markets fully. I am a business strategist, and that's one thing that I start with. I help businesses research the market landscape. I help businesses understand their competitors, and then I help them position themselves. Now, this is me even taking it off the top of my head, but you can already imagine how exactly I said this. I made use of research, right? And then I made use of numbers. So I said 40% businesses. Now, these are tricks to actually making use of a story. So when you hear about storytelling, it's never really about the story. It's really about how you're able to make use of certain figures or certain elements. Let me put it that way. Now, moving on quickly to events. Another touch point is confidence, curiosity. You need to exude this. Another is workplace. I'm getting somewhere. In the workplace, you need to be an excellent person. You need to take initiative. And when it comes to personality, one is empathy, right? So this is a touch point, because when people meet you, they judge you based on the character you exude. And I mentioned the importance of empathy in personal branding. So if you're able to relate to people, relate to their experiences, they would see the value in you, right? And you'll know what to give out to people. So it's just like we see it on social media, especially on Twitter, when you see how people just tweet, and then you're wondering, is it that you're unable to feel emotions or something like that? Now, this is why empathy is very important. But then I was saying that there is somewhere I'm getting to, right? And you see why I was talking about these things. All right. Now you're wondering, okay, I have a personal brand, right? But where do I start? Okay. I think it's best for me to skip that part and go into something. So let me take you back to the people we spoke about. Tony Elumelu, we spoke about GDK Debola Dejikuromi, and we spoke about CLM Kingin. So you can now look at them at the places you probably would have met them at events. Look at them at events, look at their personality. You see them exude all these characteristics that I spoke about. Events, you see confidence, you see curiosity. Anytime they get the opportunity, they ask these questions. Now, I said I'm going to go unconventional, and that's because these things we don't always talk about them, but they impact your personal brand on a large scale. They impact it. Even at the workplace, because of my role, I've gotten to grade personnels. And one thing that makes personnel stand out, one thing that helps them scale up in their career development is by excellence. I mean, to be honest, you don't even need to be perfect. You don't need to get everything right. But just by showing that intentionality, showing that you're ready to put in the extra work and taking initiative, you're not waiting for people to tell you to do this. They know you, they can identify you as a person of value. That's one way that you can scale up, right? So then you're wondering, okay, this is a personal brand, but how exactly, where would I start from? Where would I create a personal brand from? So one thing to do is to start from your inner circle, right? Set a track record of value and empathy. So many times, especially entrepreneurs, you can have a business when you're selling bags or you're selling hair and the rest. And you tell your friends, okay, I'm launching this, and they're like, yay, but at the end of the day, nobody buys it. And then you're wondering, why is nobody buying it? You should think back, if my friends don't even see the value in what I'm offering, then how exactly will other people see the value in it? Do you get? Now there are different situations for this. There are times too when your friends might not actually need what you have, and that's why it's very important that before you before you sell anything. Now we delve into the business part a bit, but before you sell anything, you need to conduct a market research, understand your audience, and what exactly it is that they need. So everybody cannot be your audience if you have a business or if you plan to start one. You cannot sell to everybody. It's not possible. The beautiful bag that you have for the world to see is not everybody that would actually like it. So you need to understand the people that need the bags, what experience they're going through, what story surrounds the need for that bag, and create a story, create something beautiful from it. So you need to start from your inner circle. You need to look inward. What is it that I need to improve on? Why is it that people stay away from me? Why do I have two friends? I mean, you might have a good reason for having two friends. Maybe they're just people that you're surrounded by people that you wouldn't want in your circle, which is fine. But also look at your inner circle. What is it about myself? Am I a valuable people? Yes, a valuable people. Am I a valuable person to my friends? Am I someone who maintains consistency? Am I someone they can trust at any point in time? And am I empathetic to their feelings, to their needs? All right. And then another step, which is very important, is to be ordinary. Um, this is so important, especially for people who are passionate and driven. Now, I will tell you the first step to building a personal brand, because anytime you hear of personal brand, you hear of the need to stand out. The first step to doing that is to first be ordinary. Don't force yourself to be different yet. For you to be different, you have to have mastered the systems. You have to have mastered topics. You have to have mastered the subject. You need to first learn what is important. So it's just like entering tech. You first need to learn how to code. Or that's if the tech area you're going to is the part that needs coding. You first need to learn how to code, master the basics, and then when you master that and you become a guru, you can then start bringing in your own spice. All right, that's why you hear when you meet all these celebrities or all these people who are well recognized in their industry. When they're talking, they'll tell you about the systems. They'll tell you this was the problem that I noticed in the system, and this was the value that I then developed. You would notice that that's usually the way that they talk. They notice the problem, but there's no way you can notice a problem if you do not master the basics. So become so good at doing ordinary things, and then you can start thinking of additional things. That's when you'll be able to recognize the problems that exist. But if you start from the end, it's going to be very pointless, because at the end of the day, it's like building a very beautiful house roof with no foundation. Where exactly are you going to put the roof? Nowhere. So the foundation is very important. And one way to do this is to get people templates. For me, Debola was my template when I started. I used to watch her videos, and before I knew it, it became a huge part of me. I was able to think bigger. All right, I'm going to wrap this up soon. All right, the last one for this section is to be wide with your imagination. So think big. If you want to build a personal brand, you must first think. Now, for example, if you look at Elon Musk, he has a personal brand, and if you're going to even describe him with one word, especially SpaceX, one word you use is disruptive. That's one way you describe his personal brand. Well, maybe his mates were thinking about how to work in banks, maybe instead of even owning the banks themselves, he was thinking about space, right? So it's very important for you to be wide in your imagination. Think about big things. If you want to build a personal brand that would stand out, think of something that is not the usual, something that people won't just see by the roadside. You need to set yourself aside, set yourself apart for you to stand out as a personal brand, right? So you have to think the unimaginable before you can be it. So if you want to own a brand, first thing you need to do is imagine it, and then you can start planning how you would get there step by step. All right. So your track record has to start with a picture of who you want to be in the future. And then you can then hold on to that picture and bring it to the present. So you don't have to wait for the future before you start acting like the owner of a bank, if that's what you want to be like, before you start acting as a business strategist. Start acting like that now, but learn the basics of it. Be ordinary first, but start acting like what you want to be like in the future. All right. And then of course you have to create structures for continuous learning. Pay attention to little details because they matter. And yes, this is basically it. So if you go back to the beginning, to Tony Elumelu, you see all these things that I mentioned. You see it in their personal brand reflected. Look at their inner circle. For example, Selim King. If you check his social media page, you would see the impact of his inner circle on his personal brand. You would see his authenticity. That is, he had mastered the ordinary first, right? And he was able to even craft a story around that. We can see that in what are the other points I mentioned? The other one I mentioned is to be wide in your imagination. We can see that in Tony Elumelu. So to build a personal brand, these are things that are usually not spoken about, but it's very essential. In fact, it's at the core of building a personal brand. So if you have that perfect LinkedIn profile, you have that perfect social media page, but if you lack in this area, then it's pointless. We've probably seen people who have that good LinkedIn profile or social media page, but when you meet them in person, you're then like, how exactly is this person positioned like this online? So to build a personal brand, you have to be holistic in your branding. Think about every touch points that people would get to know you. And quickly, to finally wrap this up, to in case you have questions, okay, how exactly would I be? What would my personal brand be about? Who would I target in the industry? Just try to answer these quick questions. Number one, you need to know who you are, what you do, why you do it, and how you do it. And then finally, for who you do it, right? Important that you get these questions answered. If you're unable to answer these questions now, it's totally fine. It's normal. The best thing to do is to look for places, people who already know who they are, people who are doing great things, and volunteer in their organization. Just being in that circle is enough to give you clarity on where to start in your personal branding. All right, that's all for that's all. I hope this was helpful. All right, you were able to share the slides. Oh, this is great. All right, thank you. Israel, on to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was a very informative session, although it was short because we have to manage our time. But that was a very informative session. I wouldn't think of this much if I was asked about personal branding outside LinkedIn. I may be blank, but I mean I've learned stuff this evening. So you have to add value. Just to do a quick recap of what we talked about. You have to be consistent. That's common. like she said, Tony Melu's red tie is actually a testament to consistency. So you have to have something of value, be consistent, have empathy towards your audience. So they have to firstly be your audience before they become your market. They have to be your family before they become your market. I believe that too. So putting yourself in the shoes of your audience, you want to know how they are feeling, you want to know what's going on with them, in terms of branding, personal branding, of course, storytelling is very important. You could see Orolua trying to just pitch herself as a strategist, and even from ahead, she was able to give us something that would, I mean, could land her a position in some places. So that's what it's all about. In doing it consistently, it becomes a part of you. It becomes a part of you. And then we talked about touch points. We highlighted that LinkedIn itself is a touch point. So I want us to know that LinkedIn, your YouTube, your Twitter, your Facebook, your WhatsApp can be a touch point for you, depending on the audience you're trying to reach. But then, when we are talking of personal branding outside LinkedIn, we're looking at events, we're looking at interviews, we're looking at your personality. So some people would never get to interact with you in maybe an event or through an interview or look through your social media. You might just meet them once or twice, maybe in a conference, and well, that would still pass as an event actually. But what would strike them is actually your personality. I happen to be working with someone now, and he told me that right from the first day we met, he was already studying. So I wouldn't know that I was just acting normally, I was just relating normally. So that's what personal branding can do for you. You have to make it ingrained into how you live your life. So thank you very much for that session, Arelua. That was very value packed. We really appreciate it. So I don't know. I believe we would have questions. I believe we would have questions. Can we still hear me? Please, if you can hear me, let's type it in our comment section.
I can hear you though.
All right, that's great. That's great. So I was just wondering if we have questions. So we've had some people engaging. We've had some people engage the comment section. Premium Educate, Tunde Ajejumo, Adeyemi Akombi. Thank you very much, guys. So I believe you have questions for Orelua. I'll just some 2-3 minutes to see if you have questions. Okay, I think I'll just talk about the slides again. Maybe just go through the slides for one last time. So I think there is a lag, but we can still manage. So let's dwell on touch points again. Pride versus humility. She shared the story of that lady. The team was seeking a 9/10, and she pitched herself to be, was it 5 or 6? And then she lost the opportunity. She might actually be she might actually be a 9/10, but out of being humble or maybe fear of the unknown. And the thing is, most times we tend to go into roles. So there are actually roles, there are job roles you can go into, and there are job roles you have to be fit for. So, but many times we do not know this difference, and at the end of the day, shoot ourselves in the leg. So we talked of events, confidence, curiosity. Someone just shared a very important message, a keynote session, and you're just curious and you can walk up to the person, even if the person is the organizer of the event. Some of us believe you go to event only to network with fellow attendees, but you can actually network with the organizers. You can network with the speakers. Workplace excellence, your ideas can be a very strong indicator of who you are. So you want to brand yourself as someone that has ideas. You want to brand yourself as someone that contributes. You want to brand yourself as someone that can interact, can have a conversation when you're on the table. And then finally, your personality. You have to have empathy towards others. We have stressed that a lot. So I think I have a question for Orolua. I do have a question. So when does Orolua, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. So when does personal branding start to become too much? Like when does the word I really want to use is when does it start to become like maybe become lies or become you saying what you cannot do or trying to portray yourself in a very different light. Like what's that thin line between actually presenting what you are and trying to present what you are not?
All right. Thank you. That's a very good question, and that's a very good question. All right. So, would I say there's a thin line? Yeah. Yes, there is. So, personal branding in itself, I don't think it can ever be too much. But once you start painting a picture of what you're not, then that's just negative branding. And there's a tendency for everybody to. So if at all you're going to brand yourself, you see that when I was talking about personal branding, I was talking about the fact that you must be valuable, right? For you to build a brand, you need to offer value. So if you are then making yourself look like you have value when you actually have nothing to give people, then that's just simply a lie, a big fat lie. And it's going to come out to the world one way or the other. No matter how you put it on your platform, no matter how you word it would come out one day. Because at the end of the day, if you say, "Oh, I know how to code," and then we employ you and you cannot even write the most basic thing, people would notice that, right? All right, so personal branding in itself requires authenticity for people to be able to relate to you. And once you lack that, once you're not able to show that value, it would show up in one way or the other. And I can just promise it, usually when people do this, it always ends really bad. So that's why I always say that learn to understand the process, understand the need for you to go through the processes. So there was something I spoke about, trying not to. Yes, the fact that you need to be ordinary first. So look at the example I gave of the fact that when you want to build something, for example, if you want to build a roof that people can see, no matter how beautiful that roof is, if you lack on the foundation, if you've not crafted the foundation well, there's no where exactly are you going to put the roof? It won't last. Once the wind blows, the roof is gone because there's nothing holding it, right? You need a foundation to hold the house. If you build a house without the foundation, when strong wind comes, it will go, right? So it's very important that your value is intact, your value is in it, because one day there's going to be a day when it will be tested. And if you actually lack it, it's going to be so obvious to the world. It's going to be so obvious. So many that's why they have interviews. I mean, we see that you have a great LinkedIn profile, but we still have to interview you. We still have to ask you certain questions to see that you have the value to give. And then when like someone starts working at the company, there's usually the probation period that they give people. Okay, so they tell you, oh, maybe you work for the first 3 months, and we'll see if you actually have the substance that you claim to have during the interview. If you don't have it, they'll tell you to leave. If you have it, and if they're contented, they can promote you, or should I maybe not necessarily promote you, but they can give you an increase, right? So well, I can say, yeah, there's a thin line that exists, but at the same time, personal branding in itself, the positive aspects can never be too much. But if people would rather just lie on the internet, then that's basically, to me, I just see it as a line of personal branding. I like to see personal branding from a positive aspect, right? So if you ever feel the pressure um to want to say what you're not, you should remember that there is always a process and it would always come back. Really, not you, but like anybody who is listening right now. So yeah, that's what I have to say concerning that. I think what's just essential is that you know how to market your value. You know how to, because one thing I've seen is that many times we have the value, we have the skill, we have the thing to offer people, but we just don't know how to word it. And that's where storytelling comes in. The tips I give about strategies, about the use of research, statistics, figures, and a call to action. So yeah, I think that would really help you to put your value out there. It's a more holistic conversation, really, but those are the essentials to, um, should I say, expatiating on the value you have to give.
Wow, thank you very much.
I
Thank
hope
you very
that
much.
answered your
So,
question.
yeah, you did. So, in essence, it's not too much when you actually have the skill, when you actually have what you can, when you can defend what you're saying. So, because the moment you can defend what you're saying, you are portraying yourself in a very dangerous light because expectations are high and then you are underperforming. So you did answer the question very well. You did. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. You are in your tight schedule. You could be resting by this time, but
Mm,
thank you
mm,
for thinking that you could share with us. We sincerely appreciate it, and I believe
Thank
that
you.
anyone that would come across this video would be learning a lot. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. I saw a question in the comment section from
All right,
Mr.
let's take it.
Tunde. All right, let me read it out. What advice can you give a person that just wants to build his or her profile on LinkedIn to be a top-notch profile? Um, so I'll start this. It's I think everybody, so long as you have a career goal, you should definitely have a LinkedIn profile or at least some sort of profile. I mean, some people choose Instagram, Twitter, and the rest build their profile. It just depends on where. So, for example, if you're a lawyer, you definitely should have a LinkedIn profile if you want to go into that. If you're a tech guy, then many times I would advise Twitter. LinkedIn too is great for tech guys, but I know that there are a lot of tech opportunities on LinkedIn. You just need to know the right place to search. Um, so, to the advice I'll give you on building a profile is just as I said before, is to build it around value. Now, there is something much more to building LinkedIn profiles. One name I always go with is the growth agent. And if you check my LinkedIn profile, Orelu Ababayade, you see it as the growth agent. Um, to break down how to build a LinkedIn profile, I'll need to analyze every detail and the importance it plays, but I'll just try my best to summarize it. So at the header, I would say you need to give yourself a name that is a messaging that would summarize all that you are on your LinkedIn profile. And of course, this has to surround the value that you have, the genuine value that you have as a person. So think about what makes you important. Think about your past experiences. Think about the places you work, the places you volunteered in. What is that one thing that people have always, should I say, awarded you for, or people have always appreciated your presence for? So is it that anytime they see you, they know that their businesses would attain the height that they want within how many months? Is it that they love your leadership skill, they love your teaching skills? You can highlight that in some way, pick a message, and highlight that in some way on your LinkedIn profile. You can also use it as a way to hype yourself up, to be honest. So if you search all these people that I mentioned, you can see on Selling King, his Instagram profile has the creator's creator. You can check out my work. I know that she has a message that she used on her LinkedIn profile. All these people have a central message. So as soon as you search them up, that's the first thing that you see, that message that summarizes who they are. And then to get further information, you see it in their about page. You can see their experiences that breaks it down and all that stuff. So it's um it's very important that you understand the value you have to give and then you know how to word it. I really don't want to delve so much into this because of time, but Yeah, that's it. I believe that the LinkedIn person who will come will speak more in depth about it. But LinkedIn profile is also very important. You need to understand how to use the different features that exist there. Yeah. And importantly, just share things about yourself. It could be posting posts about your expertise. You need to establish authority. And when it comes to positioning on any social media platform, I say one thing to show that you actually have value is to talk about your experiences, your success stories, give testimonials, um, show collaboration or partnership with people who are in the same industry with you, or even outside the industry, depending on the reason. Everything has to be outlined on your LinkedIn profile, just as proof of your value.
Okay, I believe that Tunde Adejumo's question has been answered. So yeah, LinkedIn is just another whole process on its own. It's like another entity. It's another touch point, like we have learned. So you would have to devote time in full again to learn about LinkedIn in full. So that's just the way LinkedIn is. It's in fact different from other social media social media channels again. So LinkedIn, just like every there's a way Facebook works, there's a way Twitter works, there's a way LinkedIn works, there's a way Instagram works as well. So LinkedIn one is different, and LinkedIn is, we can say, the most professional of them all. So that's why things are maybe a bit stringent over there. We are just waiting for our speaker, our second speaker to come in. Um, One of our speakers won't be able to be with us because she she she's not feeling too good, and we don't want to stress her. Our health is our first priority, so she has to sit out. Um, but we still have with our second speaker who is supposed to engage us on LinkedIn, but wouldn't be keeping us on the call for too long if probably due to some reason it won't be here. I would let us know, and we could probably reschedule for another day because I really want us to get the knowledge that our resource persons have. Okay, pen time when our other speaker can come in. I think I'll just invite Orua to assist us on LinkedIn. So let's get it.
All right. So I'll just give a brief a summary about the essentials to building an important LinkedIn profile, and I'll just start. Um, I'll start by saying you should have a framework. You should make use of a template. Okay, I mentioned this in one of our slides. I think it's under the under being original, but it wasn't with regard to pinpoint. But we can still apply that to positioning on social media. You need to find a template or a framework to copy. And by copy, I don't mean it's exactly if, for example, you use Tony Elumilu. I'm not saying you should copy and paste what he has on his LinkedIn profile, but it should give you inspiration or an idea of what should be on yours. So look for someone who is doing something similar to what you would like to be reflected on your social media page. Look for that person. Look for the wordings the person used, the key things the person highlighted. So pay attention to even how you are taken away by the person's value. Okay, is it the person's partnership with this organization that made me that is in some way helping me see the value that this person has to offer on LinkedIn. So think about it. Mine might not be partnership. It might be an idea I came about or a solution I give people. How exactly would I highlight this on my LinkedIn page? Look through their about page. How exactly did they talk about the value they're about to give? So one thing I'll say is get a template or a framework that you can follow. Pay attention to how exactly they position themselves on this LinkedIn platform and get inspiration from it. Follow through with it. That's one way you can go about it. Another one is, as I said, find the good hook, like the name, a messaging, like a tagline that summarizes who you are. Now, putting together a LinkedIn profile, to be honest, might take a while, especially if you're still trying to understand yourself. So you can start from the basics, what you know right now, and then go out there to give out value. You can look for who to volunteer with, get the experiences, and you'll know what to detail on your LinkedIn profile too. Another thing is getting the perfect picture. One thing I would say maybe I have a bias for this, but if I'm going to recommend anybody on LinkedIn, or if I'm going to go through someone's LinkedIn profile, your picture would always stand out for me. So if you have no picture in your profile, particularly me, I would find it suspicious. If your picture is not all that good, I most likely won't go for your profile unless maybe I met you in person and I've seen the value you have to give. So if LinkedIn is going to be your first, just imagine it. If LinkedIn will be my first touch point, if people would get to see me first on LinkedIn, what perception do I want them to have about me? So position yourself for that opportunity. All right. You need to share your story for every post. One thing I noticed is if people search for you online, or if they search for a particular keyword on LinkedIn, chances are if you've used that keyword a lot of times, your profile might pop up, right? So when you're making posts, make sure that you post around the things that, should I say, make use of keywords that are related to the career path you're going in. So are you looking to build an economy, the Nigerian economy? You probably use sustainable development goals. You still, like you mentioned, the are you looking to work in the United Nations? That's better. You might want to make a post about the United Nations, make talk about the sustainable development goals, talk about economic development, talk about your volunteering activities. So these are keywords that people look out for. So if you want to work maybe as a business consultant, you probably want to use words like process improvements, business development initiatives, because these are keywords that people will use to search for you online, right? Tech, are you a tech guy? If recruiters are searching for you online, or people who are looking for valuable individuals, what are the keywords you think that you will search for you online? These keywords should be highlighted on your profile in the description, or even on the bio aspect, right? And you make posts that surround this. Then generally you can also always reach out to people. I would always say get a mentor, like somebody who has mastered how to use LinkedIn. You can reach out to them on this on how exactly to position yourself. When you're done editing your LinkedIn profile, you can have even your friends read through it and ask them, what do you think? Do I sound really good? Do I sound really professional? So it's very important. I think this is a very important topic that of course you should do more in-depth research on it also, because LinkedIn has given many people opportunities, particularly myself. Even the place I work in right now, they found me on LinkedIn. So I don't think it's something that you should put aside. Just position yourself so well on LinkedIn, so when people see you, they get that perception that you are someone of value. All right. And you can just ensure that your feed is constantly updated with valuable substances. You can, comment, repost, and all that stuff. So really, that's just a summary of what is important to LinkedIn optimization? So Israel, on to you.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing again, even out of what we initially talked about. It's very helpful. You've been very helpful in breaking down some of these concepts to us. So I sincerely believe that today's question has been answered. And thank you once again for taking that initiative to explain to us what you know about LinkedIn profile optimization. So a quick recap: your picture is very important. Yes, if I see an handsome picture, of course I would want to check it out. I would have a bias that you have something nice on your profile. But if I see a picture that is not so good, I would believe that that's just how the rest of the profile is. So that's like the first thing people get to see all your posts. So when your post gets shared, what message does it pass? How does it portray you? It's all about branding. You have to, maybe to some extent, live with branding side by side every moment you are trying to see how you can brand yourself. You're trying to see what every reaction would mean when people weigh it against who you actually are. So every reaction has to portray who you are, and it is expected that you have good values actually. So yes, so thank you once again. All right, thank you everyone that joined. So in the after, do we still have questions? Probably any question just dropped in your mind. We can just go through it again. Okay, I think there are no questions. Um, all right then. So thank you very much once again, everyone, for joining. Thank you for making the time. Thank you to everyone that joined in. It's been over an hour and you've been here. So we apologize for the little glitch we had at the beginning, and I'm glad at the end of the day we could learn something. And I'm sure we are going, or we are going to bed more knowledgeable than we ever were. So thank you very much. So I'd like to end the call now. Thank you very much for joining. I would want you to take the lessons and apply it, because when you do not apply the lessons, you tend to forget. So I would want us to apply those lessons, like right from now, start to apply them, and of course, you're going to see changes in a person. So I'll just wait for 3 more minutes in case you have question, you want to share something. Wait for 3 minutes and then you can call it a night. Okay. Well, it's not 3 minutes yet. Well, can I see if you actually learned something during this call, can I see your excitement in the comment section? You can just mention what you learned. You can type it in there. What have you learned tonight? What are the actions to be taken as a result of what you've heard or talk about? Can we have that? Sunday, Slim, Adeyemi, can we have you just talk about what you've learned from today's session? Don't tell me you're shy. You just have to type it. Okay. Thank you so much once again. Thank you so much once again. It's a pleasure doing this. I sincerely appreciate all of us that joined, and to everyone that will be watching later, um, watch this with your notes because you'll be learning a lot. New things will be dropping in your mind as you are learning. So please take action and let's build a working Pan African ecosystem. Thank you so much. Good night. Bye.